Hey guys, so in the past few videos we've talked about a couple different JavaScript pop-ups. We've talked about the alert, we've talked about the confirmation box. One we haven't talked about yet so far is the JavaScript prompt. And what that allows is it allows a pop-up that prompts the user to input some data. Thus, the user has an effect on the website because the JavaScript can take that data and actually do something with it. So there's some pretty easy things to do with this, and a variety of ways that it can be used. So we'll just do a couple rather quickly. So we're just going to launch brackets, and we're going to go ahead and create a new folder. So we're just going to call this JS prompt. And we'll go ahead and open that folder. Alright, so we've got a brand new folder, nothing's in it, right? So very first thing, let's make a new file. We'll just call it prompt.html for right now. And we'll need one more file. This will be prompt.js. And so in this video, we're going to actually have an external JavaScript file. In the previous one with the confirmation box, we started with it embedded inside of the HTML file. And then in a follow-up video, I showed how to take that internal script and instead make an external script that you then reference to. So we're just going to start from the very beginning with an external one. So this will be our doc type and HTML. We're going to keep it very simple just to show you how this works. So we'll put a simple title in, but I'm not going to do any of the other meta stuff. That'll be fine. And we'll do body. And there we go, that looks pretty decent. Maybe let's just use an h1 tag. Alright, so really simple, right? If we launch it, just to make sure everything works, very basic. Maybe throw in a line break there just because I want to. Now on the JS file, this is where we're going to put the script. Normally we would put the script here. Well, in the previous videos we would put the script here, but in this one we're going to have it as an external file. We'll need to also link in that JavaScript. So to get it to pull our script from an external file, we just type script, and then we're going to go ahead and tell it the type. And we'll tell it the source, so src. And we can see here that since we opened that folder properly, that it's looking in the folder. And there we go. Oh, I actually meant for these to be those, not the other one. So there we go. So it will now automatically pull from this. And if we save it, and if we launch it, nothing is actually going to happen because we don't have anything in the actual script. If we view the page source, you can see right here that it sees it. And if we click on that, it's here. There's nothing there, but it's not a 404. It's on the not found. It's just empty because there's literally nothing in the document right now. So to create a prompt, it's really pretty simple actually. So the command for prompt is actually prompt. And we can put in a message here, like, what's your name? And this will actually give us a prompt. So if I preview this, or launch this, there we go. What's your name? And it worked. Now, nothing happened because we didn't tell it to do anything. Right now we gave it a prompt, and that's it. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to horizontal split just so we can see both at the same time. There we go. So we haven't actually told JavaScript to do anything with it. It took it, but nothing happened. It didn't actually even save it. It just brought it up, we typed it in, and that information just disappeared. It didn't even listen to it. However, if we make this a variable like var visitor name equals prompts, now what the user puts in here will actually become the value of that variable. And if we actually do something with it, like console.log, we can actually tell it to print that. Now, in previous times, we actually put a string in here, and that's fine. We can do that. So we can put like username, but that's not going to actually call the variable. Sorry, visitor name. That's not going to actually call the variable because this is a string. It's not recognizing this as a variable. It's recognizing this as a lowercase v, a lowercase I, a lowercase s, a lowercase I, etc., not as the variable called visitor name. So instead, if we want it to paste the actual visitor name there, we actually don't put any quotations around it. And actually, even as I was typing, it was looking for what I might want. And so you can see that variable here, visitor name. And so if we do live preview, you can see it bring up what's your name, give it some input, and we can go into JavaScript console. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what that error is coming from. I wasn't creating a favicon anywhere. So let's go back and look and see if there's anything wrong with my code. I don't think that's it, but we can fix that and see what happens. So just adding back that little e there, fix that error, and it can be surprising sometimes what little typos, little issues can cause. So one of the other reasons why the console is important. Alright, so right now it's just pasting in the console log, and that's not necessarily very exciting, right? So let's actually make it go into the page itself. So we could instead do document write, and we could make it say hello, and then plus the visitor name. Close the parentheses, end with a semicolon. So if we save it and we launch this, okay, we can see that it works. A couple issues though. One, there's no space here. And two, what if I want this down here? What if I don't want it at the top? So we can fix that too. Right now, the reason why the space didn't happen is because I didn't actually put a space. Keep in mind that this white space does not equal white space on your page. And this white space is actually pretty irrelevant. It doesn't really matter that much. Where the white space matters is inside of the string. So if we want there to be some space between the hello and the visitor name, we need to make sure that we put space there. Now that I have a space there, if I just do Command S, it should bring that, there we go, it should bring that right back up for me. And I can try it, and there we go, we now have a space there. Now the next thing is, what if we want this to be down here? We can do that too. And it's going to be a little bit different. It's still a document command, but we need to be more specific than just document.write. What we need to do is we need to actually define some sort of area. So let's just create a div tag. And for now, we're just going to put a non-breaking space in there. And this needs to have an ID. So we're going to give this the ID of, how about visitor greeting. Now that we have that, we can instead tell this to document.get elements And we can see it right here, get element by ID. We're going to do by ID because that's what we did. We gave it an ID. We can click that, and now we can tell it visitor greeting because that's the name that we gave it. That's the ID that we gave it. And close that out. And now this will be inner HTML. So the HTML inside of that ID tag equals, and here we can put our message. So hello space, close the quotation marks, plus visitor name, so our variable once again, and actually that's it. That's all we have to put. Alright, so if we try this out, it's not going to work. This looks fine, but if we go into the actual console, we can see some errors here. So cannot set property inner HTML of null. The issue is it's looking for visitor greeting by ID, and you're saying like, hey, we've got that, it's right here. But the issue is it loaded this before it loaded this because this is first in the HTML doc. So if we simply move it and we save it and we do live, type that in, and now it works. And you have to make sure that the document has loaded before you're trying to access parts of it, before trying to assign things to parts of it. Now there's some other cool things that we can do with this, but I'm going to wait until the next video to do so. So right now we'll call this done, and we'll explore more that we can do with this later, including if statements, almost setting up like a very insecure password model. So in the next video we'll play a little bit more with this, but hopefully that gives you at least a rough idea of how the prompt works and what you can do with it. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it useful, pressing the like button is always appreciated. And if you'd be interested in being notified when I upload new videos, you can always hit the little subscription button as well, which will help you out with that. Thanks, and bye.